From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it's a Wednesday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine into our 24th consecutive year, seen exclusively on cleveland.com. Paul Hoynes will be here, stuck in a little traffic jam, but he assures us he will be here soon. Hopefully, if he's stuck on the road, maybe he's practicing his rant, which will come up less than an hour from now. So you don't think he would just show up in an hour just for the rant, although that might be worth it on some occasions. If you missed last week's rant, go check it out on cleveland.com. It's one of his best ever, top 5 as far as I'm concerned. In the meantime, since he's not here, we'll open up the lines. If you'd like to get a call in, you could do that right now. Lines are wide open at 216-575-0403. You can see it at the bottom of your screen. And you can email us during the show, and that is reallesslevine@gmail.com. We did get a couple of emails in left over from the other night. We may have read one of these, but we'll read it again. That is Cleveland Bill writing in. He said, it appears that in 6 of their 7 games this year, the Browns simply have not looked prepared. They should go back to whatever they did the week before the Ravens game and try to reproduce that. Oddly, with all the changes, this team does not look any better than any of the past 2 decades. Kitchen's promotion appears to confirm the old Peter principle. Here's Greg Downs. He says, hi, Les. One of the few plays I did see in this week's Monday night game was Pittsburgh's touchdown just before the half. It sure looked to me that the receiver's knees were uncovered and showing. Can you follow up to see if he gets fined like OBJ did? Great show tonight. Greg Downs sent that in. We will check in that. I was not aware of that. And that's it for the leftovers. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Paul Hoynes will be joining us. Of course, World Series game number 7. Anytime you can say Game 7, it's one of the great phrases in all of sports lexicon. And it is Game 7 tonight. I don't think anybody thought that Washington was going to come off the deck after losing 3 at home and come back with the performance they came back with. And I know everybody's favoring Houston, and probably rightfully so, but they've got Zack-Greinke going against Washington, and I don't know. Looks to me like Washington has the pitching edge. We'll see on that, and should be interesting either way. The ratings have not been good. I think they picked up a little bit last night. There wasn't much in the sports world that was going after them. Tonight it's empty also, so Major League Baseball hopefully will get a much-needed big number tonight as Washington goes into Houston. Winner takes all, and it's very interesting. And it's been all over the sports pages and the television shows and all. It's remarkable that in the history of sports, in basketball and hockey, not football because it doesn't apply here, but baseball, hockey, and basketball, that it's never happened where the one team has won all of the road games, which is exactly what's happened. 3 wins on the road for each team as they, and if you follow that. And by the way, if Washington wins and wins all of the road games, I don't want to hear anybody say, well, see, the home field doesn't matter. Yes, it really does. Maybe not on any isolated case, but if you're even in baseball, it's not about the crowd. It's not about the shape of the ballpark. It's the fact that you bat last that gives you the advantage. That's what that's all about. Right now, all of the wins have come to the visiting team, which is quite fascinating. So we'll see how that works out tonight. Max-Scherzer on the mound for Washington, and Zack-Greinke, as I mentioned. They don't want to go, at least in the starting position, with Garrett Cole. They don't want to give him, work him on 3 days rest, even though he's a sensational pitcher. And I think that's a good move on their part because now he's available for spot duty coming out of the bullpen. But we'll see how that works. You know, we as fans, we just assume you can go from 4 days rest to 3 and not show anything, but I think history shows you that's not the case. While we wait for Paul Hoynes, let's go to the phones. We'll go to Lakewood for Stu. Stu, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hi, Les. Great show tonight.
Today?
Always.
Thank you.
Hey, I was wondering if you happened to see Baker's press conference this afternoon about
I heard it.
How he reacted to Tony Grossi's question.
Yeah, I thought that was shameful on Baker's part. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but that was a good question that Tony asked, It was an unfair response. And I was listening on 92.3 The Fan. They played the whole thing. For the first 5 minutes or so, he was fine. Baker was fine. He responded the right way and everything. And I guess whatever was said by Tony just blew him up. And it was. I think Tony deserves an apology.
I totally agree. You know, I went to cleveland.com and, you know, I saw the interview, and I think there's just, you know, some ancient animosity between, you know, not with Tony, but
no, there's only a year and a half with Tony. Tony, here's the thing. I like Baker Mayfield. I like what he does. I like his attitude for the most part. But my understanding is the problem between the two is, according to a couple of different sources, is that Tony, before the draft last year, Tony said he wouldn't take Baker. He said he was a little taller version of a little bigger version of Johnny Manziel. All right, so a lot of us guessed wrong. I wasn't in favor of taking him either. I wanted Josh Rosen to be taken. That shows you how far off I was. But, okay, I came around last year when Baker Mayfield showed you what he had. I said, okay, that's fine. He's our guy. I don't know if Tony ever. I mean, you don't have to. If you make a prediction and you're wrong, you don't have to apologize for that. So for Baker to hold, you know, Baker needs the crutch of having somebody. He needs a chip on his shoulder. And if he's using Tony Grossi as a chip on his shoulder, well, shame on him. Tony is a respected member of the media. If you think that the media is tough here, go to some other city and really check it out how it is.
Are you kidding? How would that fly over in Boston, you know,
Boston
like
or Philadelphia or New York, any places like that. No question about it. I was just actually, you know, the national press, of course, is picking up, and Colin Cowherd's having a field day with us, and it makes me. I'm like, gosh, Baker. I'm almost embarrassed. I'm like, come on, man, grow up a little bit. Yeah, Baker's got to understand what you do, even if it's in Cleveland, even if it's in a little room in Berea, Ohio. That's going to get out there in this day and age. And he's asking. He's just asking. When the Browns are playing the way they're playing, and Baker's playing the way he's playing, he's just asking for more trouble.
Yep.
And I would think that he's smarter than that. And now I think it's time for the PR department of the Browns to get together with some of these people, because Freddie Kitchens looks like he's going to blow up at any minute either. Also.
Oh, boy. I agree.
Yeah. Anything else, Stu?
No. Thanks, Les.
Great to talk to you. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Let's go back to the pitching matchup in tonight's Game 7 and take a look at what we're looking at. You see Max Scherzer on the left, Zack-Greinke on the right. And Scherzer's 5 games in the postseason, one of them a relief appearance, and 4 for Greinke. 25 innings to 18 2/3, 2.16 ERA versus 5.30. Strikeouts, look at the differential there. 34 to 11 walks, excuse me, for Scherzer, and 22 strikeouts and 8 walks for Greinke. Don't get me wrong, Greinke's a fine, established major league pitcher, and most teams would like to have him as their third guy. But I think Scherzer is the leader in the matchup between the two, especially the way things have been going. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. In fact, when we get back, we'll play the press conference portion of Baker Mayfield and what he had to say to Tony Grossi. It came out of nowhere, actually. Tony asked him a legitimate question. The 5 minutes leading up to it was standard press conference fare, nothing that seemed to set anybody off, and then Baker went off on Tony, totally unfair as far as I'm concerned. So we'll see about that. Here's the stat of the month. Did you know that $6.25 million has been paid out to Ohio Lottery pick game winners each and every week? With that amount of winning, stop by your local retailer. Try your luck with the Pick 3, Pick 4, and Pick 5. Over $6.25 million has been paid out over the course of the past week. And when we get back, we'll check out the Baker Mayfield press conference. Paul Hoynes will be here. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine, with new content posted each and every day. Back in a moment. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a four-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
There was a penalty, so we were negative yardage.
No, but there was a lot of time between snaps.
Well, when the penalty happened, then we're behind the chains. No, stop saying but. I just told you the clock was running and we had a penalty. You want to give them the ball back? No, you don't play. You don't know it. That's just plain and simple. Was I happy with the drive? No, we didn't score points. It's the dumbest question you could ask. What? Jesus, Tony.
There you have it. Now, Jesus Tony shirts are available. What takes people so long? By the way, the lamest thing any athlete can ever say to an accredited member of the media, broadcast, newspapers, whatever, is to say, you never played. He said, you don't play, you don't know. That, my friend, is you're suggesting to me that every player in the NFL understands how the game is played? You really think that? I'm not saying if you're 300 pounds, you can hit better than most media members. Doesn't mean you know the rules, doesn't mean you know the strategy, doesn't mean any of that. And I'm just surprised. You can see the look on Baker's face. Maybe we can we load that up again? Somebody? Bueller? See if we can play that again, because he gets a nasty look on his face when, here's Hoynes. Hoynes an expert at guys with nasty-looking faces. Can you hop in? Paul Hoynes back from the wilderness.
There was a penalty, so we were negative yardage.
No, but there was a lot of time between snaps.
Well, when the penalty happened, then we're behind the chains. No, stop saying but. I just told you the clock was running and we had a penalty. You want to give them the ball back? No, you don't play. You don't know it. That's just plain and simple. Was I happy with the drive? No, we didn't score points. It's the dumbest question you could ask. What? Jesus, Tony.
All right, that's Baker-Mayfield upset with Tony Grossi, one of our fraternity brothers. Hoynesy, hi Hoynesy.
Hello, Les.
How are you?
Good.
You just walked in on that. You hadn't heard that before?
No, I had not heard that
Well,
before.
he was very upset. Tony was questioning. Baker was going along for 5-6 minutes, fine, perfect behavior. Then Tony asked him something about the strategy or lack thereof at the end of the first half, and he basically said, Jesus, Tony, you don't play, you don't know. How about let's relate that to baseball. Has any baseball player ever said to you that you never played the game, and if they did, they should lose their card as a baseball player?
Yeah, no, I've had some guys question my knowledge of the game.
Why? Because you question their ability to turn a double play?
Yeah, no, I remember John Rocker got me in a room alone.
Oh, you think you're the only? You were alone with John Rocker?
He was not happy with me.
Oh my God! You don't want to.
No,
you don't want to be alone with him.
No, his eyes were rolling around in his head.
Now I'm glad you lived through that, because
so
to me the best one I ever heard about you was when Albert Bell was upset with Bud Shaw. Right?
Oh yeah.
He thought Bud had stolen something from his locker.
He was looking
with some
in his
notes.
locker. Yeah.
Which I believe did not really happen.
It didn't happen. No.
Now you, as a rugby player, so here's how I understand it. Bell was going to go after Bud. Sandy Alomar came in to try to break it up, and you joined in as a former rugby player.
Yeah.
And Bud said, what in the world were you going to do? And you said, I believe, something to the effect of, I thought you were going to take him high and I was going to take him low.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's easier said than done, though. But everybody was, Bud and Albert were going nose to nose.
Right.
And and everybody was kind of drifting away from Bud, and I walked over there and just to
Hi guys,
see what
what's
was going on. And then Sandy got between us,
Yeah.
and he said, you know Albert isn't all there.
Yeah,
to
I believe
Bud.
he said Albert's crazy.
Yeah, he said Albert is crazy. Just leave him alone.
So anyway, I was pointing out on the Baker-Mayfield thing, he was rolling along, he was fine. Then Tony Grossi asked him a question, and you could see his eyes just fire up. And even Baker's smaller than Albert, but you don't want that to happen. Now it's national news.
Yeah, and that's. I don't know what happened. I can't speculate, but usually when you ask a question, they're usually waiting for you. If you wrote something that upset them,
right,
and they've seen it, they're waiting for you to ask a question. You could ask the most innocuous question.
Yeah, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Yeah, and they're going to come after you.
Yeah, there's some history there. Apparently, now here this shows you. Apparently, when Baker was drafted, Tony wrote or said that he wouldn't have drafted him. He had another idea who should have been the top choice. It's a year and a half later, it's almost 2 years later, and Baker's still upset about that. I think it's time to give it up.
Those guys have longer memories than elephants.
Well,
all of them.
Okay, but
they never forget anything. It doesn't matter what sport they play.
Even in Tony's case, even if he said, okay, I don't think that's the right pick because he reminded him too much of Johnny Manziel. So 3 months later, when he saw him play in person day after day, he changed his mind about it. That's not good enough? No.
I got in an argument with Cliff Lee just before he got traded. And remember when Cliff Lee threw at Ken Griffey Jr., threw it at his head and got suspended?
Right.
Cliff
wasn't that kind of a guy.
That happened 5 years before that, before this argument. And he goes, and you said I threw a Cliff at what's his face, Ken Griffey Jr. And I never did. He got suspended for it, but he never did. But he accused me of saying I did throw at him. So those guys carry grudges.
We're going to backtrack just a little bit. So we're set for Game 7. It looks to me like Scherzer versus Greinke is in Washington's favor, I think.
Yeah, it depends.
And they're the visiting team. That seems to be the thing.
Yeah, it depends, just how healthy Scherzer is. I mean, 2 days ago, he couldn't get out of bed, right?
Couldn't
he
get
got
dressed.
a cortisone shot in his neck, which does not sound like a lot of fun. And,
what's the object? Get him through 2 innings, 3 innings?
I guess, 2 or 3 innings and then go to the bullpen. But, I mean, he won Game 1 and he only went 5 innings in Game 1. Right. So we'll
there
see.
You see it. So based on his injury, none of these numbers matter.
Yeah, and Greinke hasn't pitched that well either. He was lucky to get out of Game 3 with only allowing 1 run.
And by the way, this is interesting that Martinez, the manager of Washington, he got thrown out last night, right?
Yeah.
So if they're going to try to get him thrown out for tonight's game, I'm sure they just tell the commissioner, wait 1 day to make a decision.
Yeah. Well, they'll suspend him at the start of next year.
Fine, but they wouldn't dare suspend him for tonight's game.
No, they can't do that. I mean, when Robbie Alomar spit at the umpire, I think they suspended him at the
Yeah, but that wasn't in the.
No, that wasn't in the regular the postseason. But I remember somebody getting suspended, but it didn't kick in until the next season.
I was worried that Martinez was going to make contact, and if it was contact, it was going to be a punch.
Yeah, I mean, he was, and this guy had a heart attack like 3 months ago, 2 months ago, and he was off the charts. But I don't blame him for that. I thought that was
bad call all the way.
That was a bad call.
It's even worse than that for the fans. That it was about a 12 to 15 minute delay.
Yeah, nobody said what was going on.
Yeah, and you got 6 umpires.
Yeah, come on. I mean, and the home plate umpire made the right call technically, but how many times have we seen that play? Where is the right-handed hitter supposed to go on that play? He can't. They want him to jump over.
He went as straight as he could be.
Yeah, they want him to jump over into the alley and then come to his right and then come back to his left.
It's not that he was a step over where trying to have that throw run into him. It was a bad throw.
Yeah, it was, it got Peacock off the hook for a bad throw.
Absolutely.
And I just think it was an umpire making the right call, but at the wrong time of the game and not having too much feel for the situation.
Why didn't 5 other umpires meet together and come up with a solution here?
Yeah,
or they're supposed to go to New York in that case?
Well, it's a judgment call, and they can't. There's no on a judgment call. There's no review, and they can't replay it. And I'm not sure what they were doing calling New York
if you couldn't replay it.
Yeah, you can't. And when they came out of the review, Peacock went like this. He gave the out sign. So,
well, as a turnover, thank goodness it didn't matter.
Yeah, Rendon got everybody off the hook.
Absolutely. All right, let's. The Indians made a little news today, and has to do with the coaching staff. So Brian Sweeney is named bullpen coach. Tell me who he is, what he is, and what to expect, and who does he replace?
Brian Sweeney is, this is his third year on the job. He pitched in the minors and the big leagues for about 19 years. He came on board as a coaching assistant 2 years ago. Breaking down the scouting reports, helping the pitchers. He worked with the Phillies before this in their minor league situation and in their minor league organization. He's going to be the bullpen coach, replaces Scott Atchison, and he's a guy that's made a very good impression with him.
All right, on the other side of the ledger, they have added a name that I think all of us have heard, but we don't know too much about, Ruben Niebla, who becomes he's not the pitching coach. He's what exactly will he be?
I have not seen that release. I know I wrote it a couple days ago, but I knew they were creating a new title for him and a new role for him. He's not going to be the pitching coach, but there's so many teams, Les, that are concentrating really hard on developing pitching. The analytics behind pitching. Developing pitches, and Niebla's great at this.
And he's the guy that got a lot of credit for the young kids who came up in the middle of the season.
And this is a guy that's worked, he redid Corey Kluber's mechanics, Clevenger, Bieber. He has a hand in all these guys, and Plesac, Savali, Plutko.
So Carl Ellis isn't pushed out at this point.
No, he's the pitching coach. Yeah. But
right.
I'm not sure exactly what Ruben's title, what his title is and what his duties will be.
216-575-0403 is the number to call if you'd like to talk to Paul Hoynes on the eve. Well, it's not on the eve. It's just an hour. What do we have? About an hour and a half away until we get to Game 7. Game 7 has such a great ring, doesn't it? In any sport?
Game 7, definitely.
Game 7, no question about that. Northeast Factory Direct, they've got a good ring to that also. 3 great locations, east, west, and south. Of course, West 140th Street, Lakeland Boulevard, and in Macedonia on Freeway Drive. But before you do anything, go to northeastfactorydirect.com. Tell them Les Levine sent you there. And they've got about 50 sofas at around $3.99 and solid wood bunk sets just $2.99. And no gimmicks, no typical retail nonsense that you hear. The bottom line is nobody's going to touch their everyday savings or quality. If you want to overpay, go ahead. But if you don't, you want to save money on the same stuff, go to northeastfactorydirect.com. We'll take a break. We'll talk about Francisco Lindor and some rumors out there. Maybe Hoynes started them. I don't know. Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing, and you can catch all the excitement. And Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 6 o'clock with the post time. Saturday and Sunday at 6:40. Open early every day, though, for simulcast action all over the world. Top prize on the weekly Sunday contest featuring Belmont, $500 in cash, free admission, free parking every day. That's at Northfield Park. We'll come back in a moment. Paul Hoynes is with us. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
There was moisture in the basement. It ruined the carpeting. The smell was terrible. We didn't feel safe in our own basement, and that's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of October and save up to half off. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
Oh, gosh. Playing Ohio Lottery Pick 3, I see. What are you going to do? A box bed, a split pairs, or a wheel? Well, old Picky Ricky here is a straight shooter.
Okay.
It razzes my berries when newbies think betting's hard. Straight bets are easy peasy. Just match 3 numbers in order and win the old-fashioned way. This, on the other hand, is not so simple. Oh, God. Oh, jeez Louise. Play the Ohio Lottery Pick 3 today.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
This segment brought to you by Tri-C. Paul Hoynes is with us. Dennis Maniloff will join us tomorrow night. Doug Lesmerises makes a return engagement on Monday here on More Sports and Les-Levine. All right, the rumors are out there. Everybody knows the Indians are not going to sign Francisco Lindor for $400 million, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Right?
Otherwise, I would think so.
He'll be like the king in his court, the old softball guy. Francisco against 9 guys because they wouldn't be able to afford anybody else.
That's right, yeah.
All right, so I think we talked about this before. In my estimation, I think yours, is there's 3 things that can be done here. You can just let him ride it out for 2 years, play as a Cleveland Indians shortstop, and then say thank you for your efforts and nice seeing you.
Yeah.
That's number one. Not necessarily the greatest option, but number one. Second option would be let him play 1 year, same thing, full go, try to win the division and get to the World Series, and then trade him to the best offer after 1 year, leaving 1 year left on his contract.
Yeah.
And then there's the third one, somehow beg, borrow, and steal that, I don't know what the dollar figure would be, but it's not going to happen, but that is an option if they change their mind and try to pay him.
Yeah, and I think, get ready to read a Francisco Lindor's rumor story every day this winter. I mean, that's what it's going to be. We went through it with Bauer and Kluber last year, and they both shockingly opened the season with the Indians this year. And I'm betting that the same thing happens with Lindor, and then perhaps at the All-Star break, or at the trading deadline, if they're out of it, maybe they move him then.
All right. Is there thought that if nothing changes in the division, they still take on Minnesota, and they think if everybody's healthy, they think they can win it?
I think they do, because Minnesota has some free agent defections going on a lot with their Jose Rio. I think is the only pitch starter coming back, that is guaranteed to come back.
Right.
They could lose everybody else to free agency. So that opens the door a little bit. Shoop is a free agent, so they're going to lose some of that power that they signed over the winter last winter.
I gave you the 3 potential options. Of the 3, what do you do?
If it's me, I trade him right now.
Would you really?
I think this is your best chance to get the biggest return. Because
you get more guys, and the theory is not all of them will make it.
And the team that gets him has him for 2 years, and you figure, a team that gets Lindor is a contender, and they might, they're going to be. I would imagine they're in a bigger market, and they might be able to sign him to an extension. So you get him for 2 years plus.
Yeah, my guess is if they get him for the 2 years, they'd be interested that day to sign him for an extension.
Yeah,
why else would you get the guy?
Yeah, right. And you have those. They open those like 72 hours to do an extension.
Have you heard anything from his camp, if there is such a thing, or from him, as to what markets he'd be interested or what team he'd be interested in? I don't think we've heard anything.
No, I mean his agent has said very, very little. His
legitimate agent.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He had Kimbrel, but Kimbrel was out for, he didn't sign with the Cubs till midway through the season. And he lost, he had Castellanos, and Castellanos left. So, but Lindor is his guy. That's his ticket.
That's all he needs.
Yeah,
it's a lifelong savior.
And the other guy, Dietrich, the kid from Cleveland, he was his agent. I mean, he was had Lindor's agent, but he just left to go to another agent as well.
All right. So the one we're hearing, and you wrote a lot about it. The Indians, the Dodgers seem to be the team making the first entry into this.
Yeah, I haven't written that, but it was John Morosi wrote it for MLB.com,
Right.
and Morosi's the same guy that wrote that Kluber was getting traded every day of the winter.
Eventually
last
he
year.
was going to be right.
Eventually he's going to be right.
Yeah.
But so I take that with a grain of salt. I mean, I think there's every contender out there would like Francisco Lindor.
All right, so the names that kind of snuck out there, and I don't know if Morosi made them up or if they are, but we're talking about the Dodgers right now and what they might give up, or at least what the Indians might be asking for in return. And there you go. Gavin Lux is a guy, and you can see the numbers there, Hoynes. 240 batting average, couple of home runs. He did it with the Dodgers in that year. And in the minor league, he did it between AA and AAA. And he's the Dodgers' top-ranked prospect, according to MLB.com. You hear anything about him?
I have not heard anything about him, Les. I saw him. I just watched him on TV like everybody
Right.
else. I mean, they're loaded with prospects. They're loaded with, but you can't. To me, if you're going to trade Lindor, you've got to get guys that are major league ready.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to
Not
get
ready, played already.
and you can't. You got to hit a home run if you trade him.
Yeah, Dustin May is a guy they might be looking at. You see the pitcher, right-handed pitcher, and giving up 14 earned runs, 32 strikeouts, and 5 walks. It's pretty good ratio in 14 appearances. So
Yeah,
that's Dustin May.
And they were connected with Kluber and Bauer with the Dodgers all winter last year.
Yeah, so they've been looking at these
So
guys.
they've been looking at it. If they couldn't find a deal there, I'm sure they were talking probably a bunch of these same names.
Right.
And if they couldn't make a deal for those guys.
Hybrid Ruiz is a catcher and third-ranked prospect in the Dodgers system, switch hitter. Well, you will agree, I think, that the Dodgers are pretty well respected for their minor league system.
Oh, definitely, yeah. They have a good organization. They've got a lot of money, and they've got they have prospects from here to eternity.
Well, here's the kind of kid you're talking about, one with major league experience already, not a prospect. And this Corey Seager is their shortstop, 25 years old, 5 years in the majors, and his batting average 294, 73 homers, 266 RBIs in just less than 500 career games.
Yeah, and
he's a legitimate player.
Yeah, he's had some health problems. He was hurt. He didn't come back. I don't think he played a full season this past year. His brother plays third base for the Mariners.
Right.
Yeah. So definitely a good baseball player. Definitely.
216-575-0403. Do you get tired? Will you be tired of talking about Francisco every time you go into a city? Every game?
I don't get tired. I like Lindor. I like talking to him. He's an engaging guy, and he's a talented guy, I think. And you just get nervous if one of these guys, you don't want to get beat on this story.
Right.
That's the thing that makes me nervous.
You're in their backyard.
Yeah, you don't want to have him getting traded for 5 guys at midnight. 2 weeks from now.
Has he said though to you that? Has he confided in you in any way, shape, or does he know your first name?
Yeah, I don't know if he knows my first name. He knows Hoynes.
Hoynes. Yeah. Nobody knows Paul.
Yeah. But I think I think if the Indians had the money, if they had the wherewithal to keep him, I think he'd sign here. I think he's happy here. I mean, how could he not be happy here?
No,
the only grudge he could have maybe is they held him back a little and they got an extra year out of it.
Turned out to be the right move.
Yeah. So I don't know if he's unhappy about that, but he's never said that, and he likes to play, and
I'm thinking about that with Strasburg of Washington, that they kept him out at the end of September a couple of years ago.
Yeah, 2012.
And I think is what they got this year in the postseason and the other night, is that what they got in return? His ability to
it could
pitch?
be. I mean, and he's had his injury problems since then, but I mean he's been the best pitcher in the postseason, I think,
right,
in this World Series. Out of all those big name starters, I mean he was dominant last night.
And we're going to check with Hoynes. He's got some awards predictions and more when we get back. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Try C. There you go, the ranked 10th in the nation in conferring associate degrees in health professions and related sciences. Check them out at tryc.edu health careers for more information. We'll take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a four-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
it takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
Well, we're less than 20 minutes away from what I believe will be a classic Paul Hoynes rant. I haven't heard it, I haven't seen it, but knowing you, it'll be a classic. Giving Paul Hoynes a few minutes stuck on the freeway is like giving a starter an extra day's rest.
God, as long as I don't run into somebody, I rear end somebody.
All right, you've made some predictions here. Well, you were asked to make some predictions. Let's check them out. The Hoynesy Awards prediction part of the show. American League and National League MVP, you say Mike Trout and Christian Yelich. Cy Young Award, Garrett Cole and Stephen-Strasburg. Then you go Manager of the Year, Rocco Baldelli of Minnesota, Dave Martinez of Washington. Rookie of the Year, Yordan Alvarez and Pete Alonso. I think Alonso is about a no-brainer, right?
Jeez, well, how many home runs did he hit? 50 plus?
52,
50
I think.
Yeah. I mean, won the home run
rookie.
derby. I mean, he's
as a rookie in New York City.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, too. The polar bear. He's all right.
They don't have good nicknames anymore.
I know. Where the
Do you have any favorite nicknames anymore? I mean, Big Papi was good, but it wasn't English.
Good. Yeah, what? The wild horse, or what?
Yeah, that's Puig.
Yeah, Puig. That was pretty good. The wild horse.
We didn't know that till he had a game-winning something.
That's right.
The wild horse. Would you sign him if nobody else does?
Yeah, I'd sign him in a heartbeat.
Would you really?
I think he'd be. I don't know. Obviously, it depends how much money he wants, but.
Right.
But I think he'd thrive here. I really do. I think they got a lot of Latin American players. He was very comfortable.
He seemed to be very happy.
Yeah, and I think he respects Tito. Tito got 2 good months out of him. Now with the organization, I think the organization was walking on eggshells.
Yeah,
when
because
they signed him.
Well, yes, but there was the assurance that it was his walk year, and he wasn't going to pull any shenanigans. So he didn't. The question is, if you signed him, would he just say, okay, now I'm going to go back?
Now the wild horse is running free, yeah. So, but I thought, I think he didn't hit for power here, but I think he would if, you got in there a full year.
He sure looks like he would.
God, he's huge.
He's huge, and he's got the swing. On the other hand, Reyes just as huge.
Yeah, and Reyes, I mean, he hit almost 40 home runs, and it looked when he was here, it was by accident.
Yeah,
almost.
But he has to be a DH. They couldn't keep him in San Diego.
I know.
Is there any chance he could be the opening day left fielder?
I think
he would help.
I think he'd play right field.
Right field.
Yeah,
I meant right field.
Yeah, I think he'd be right field. He could, but I don't think he's going to play every day there. Unless they want him to lose weight and come to camp and increase his mobility. We saw him play there like 3 or 4 games. I mean, he didn't do anything bad. And like most guys, he said it helps him hitting because he's involved in the game.
I often wonder if you put the Indians had a crucial series against not Washington, somebody else in that trip. Yeah, I guess it was Washington. And they were talking, and it didn't matter. As it turned out, the series didn't matter because Cleveland was out of it by that time. Let's take a 3-game series in September. If you put him in there versus not putting him in there, how many runs do you think it would actually cost a team? I mean, even if he's less than average, if he's horrible.
Well, I think he's. The question is, I think he'll catch anything that's hit to him that he can.
Yeah.
You know, but he's just not. He doesn't move real well.
Right. So how many times in a 3-game series do you think that comes into play?
I think. I mean, okay,
Enough
maybe
to scare
maybe
you
it
off?
costs you 3 runs.
Ooh.
You know, and then. But what if he drives in 5? You know,
That's the question.
That's the.
That's what they have analytics for.
That's right. And I mean, he certainly has the power to do that.
I mean, you could get through 5 innings, you have a lead, and say, okay,
and
have a nice seat.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. We're not that far away from a Paul Hoynes rant. Who are you picking tonight?
I'm going with. I picked the Nationals in 7, so I got to stay with them.
Got to stick with it.
Yeah.
You still like it?
I still like it. Yeah. I still. It's interesting that the road team has won every game. That's weird.
Never happened in basketball.
Yeah.
Never happened in hockey. Isn't it interesting to see yan-gomes, Brantley,
Mike Smith. I mean Smitty, the reliever. Not Mike Smith. Joe Smith.
Yeah,
Joe
Allie
Smith.
LaForce's husband.
Yeah, Joe Smith. You know, they've all.
Asdrubal?
They've all played pretty well.
Yeah, they have. Yan with a big hit the
and
other
Smith
night.
hasn't given up a run. I mean, he's given up 1 run the whole postseason. He's pitched really well.
This is what it's all about, Game 7, right? I mean, this is why they play the game, why you and I watch it.
This is fun, yeah. I just remember 2016. You know, it just seemed. I don't know. You know, you're more involved in it, obviously, if the team you're covering is in it. But this until last night, this World Series was kind of like.
Yeah, because 8-1 games.
Yeah, there was no electricity, and finally last night we had a game that kind of started crackling and popping a little bit.
Maybe
you know?
Martinez will get it rolling for Washington. Maybe that. You know, I don't know how much you ascribe to firing a team up, but he sure got his team fired up.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that. But I think everything just depends on what Scherzer can do.
Yeah.
The Astros are so good at taking the lead early, you know, and just kind of dominating from there. And I don't know if Greinke, but I don't know if they do that and Greinke can hold it.
Yeah.
That's the question.
Northeast Factory Direct. They've got up to east, west, and south. 3 great locations plus northeastfactorydirect.com. And they got 3 bare bones warehouses filled with some of the same stuff you're going to find at a number of stores. 1923. Open 11 to 3 Monday through Friday, Friday and Saturday nights for dinner, starting at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, going till, as late as you want. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn, Cleveland's oldest family-owned and operated restaurant, winner of the James Beard Foundation Award. Only 5 restaurants in the country win it each and every year. We'll take a break. We'll take a look at our Facebook question of the day when we get back. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
I had an epoxy-based sand paint on my floor that deteriorated, and that's why I called Nature Stone.
Why paint? It's expensive, it's ugly, and it doesn't last. Nature Stone is always affordable. It's beautiful, and with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your garage floor again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of October and save up to half off. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Welcome back. Paul Hoynes is with us. We got a Facebook question of the day, but before we do that, we'll take our first call from South Carolina. Let's go to Ted, who's in Greenville, South Carolina. Go ahead.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening to you.
It is wonderful to see you on the show again. I got to tell you, great. So thank you. Hey, I wanted to ask, first of all, since you guys are just sports writers and broadcasters, I happen to be a movie star. Would you mind getting out of the way? And Jesus, let me take over for the rest of the show, please.
And why would that be?
It's a baker-mayfield take.
Oh.
a bad one. But
a bad one nonetheless, but a Baker-Mayfield thing. Hoynesy didn't see it live, so he doesn't know.
Yeah, that went right over my head.
Yeah,
not the first time that's happened.
Sorry, Hoynesy. Hey, the big question I really wanted to ask was that with baseball being my favorite sport, and I know it's Les's favorite sport, and Hoynesy, I have to think somehow it's yours as well. Do you think that there's a growing interest in baseball in the same way in the younger generation, or are we really getting away from that now?
Wow, that's a great question. I know the commissioner has made it a point to really push youth involvement. You can see it in all the the pregame ads during the World Series. They've got kids playing baseball at all levels. I know that's been a big incentive of Manfred to increase kids play, girls, boys, softball, hardball, to play baseball.
Do you think all the new stat initials and velocity and all that stuff, do you think that brings in the young people? I can't imagine that it does.
Yeah, I think they just want kids playing baseball. I think the one thing is it's expanded around the world. It's kind of it's really making inroads. Australia, Korea, Japan, of course, South America. So there's that element too. So, but I just get the impression that one of the platforms of this new commissioner is to really grow the game and start it at a grassroots level.
Ted, we got to go. Call earlier next time. Good to hear from you. 216-575-0403. A couple of emails. Michael says, what were the circumstances that made us get rid of Gomes and Brantley?
Brantley was a free agent, and that was money, and Gomes was money as well. They were cutting payroll, and
in their wildest dreams, they couldn't have thought that Perez would have delivered the way he did.
No, and they wanted to get younger, and they got 3 young players for Gomes, but money was behind it.
Cleveland Bill says, in keeping with Mayfield's reaction to Tony Grossi's question and Hoynes' story about Cliff Lee, I'm curious who is the best interviews, the worst interviews for you and Paul. Mine was Barry Switzer. He might, well, I don't know how late it was when I did it.
Barry Switzer,
terrible.
The worst interview?
Yeah.
I've had a lot of them. Mostly it's my fault. But no, I don't know.
You haven't had many bad
I've had
ones?
guys that don't talk a lot, but it doesn't make them a bad interview. They just don't have much to say.
Besides John Rocker, who did you tick off?
Mel Hall.
That's anybody.
Yeah, and Mel Hall and a couple guys. Burt Blyleven a couple times got mad at me. And,
he was
kidding.
He didn't mean
most of the time. But
all right, let's take a look at our Facebook question of the day. Who is, as of now, after Game 6, who's been your MVP of the World Series? So let's take a look. Andy Meese says, Juan-Soto is my choice for World Series MVP. He's provided Washington with the timely clutch hitting they've needed in the lineup to back their great pitching. Look for Soto to take home the honor should the Nats pull it off tonight. Rick May says, Garrett Cole if the Astros win, Soto if the Nats win. Eric Eglin, we need to see who wins tonight. However, what a series. Everybody seems to be playing lights out. We don't agree with that. Starting last night, they're playing lights out, but the first 5 games were not the greatest.
I'd say Strasburg to me is the guy.
Yeah, I got Soto in mine. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. We're going to come back. The moment you've all been waiting for, that's a Paul Hoynes rant, or at least I've been waiting for it. Northfield Park, catch the excitement of live harness racing every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, and now Sunday evenings. Monday through Wednesday, post time 6 p.m., 6:40 for the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. Open early every day for simulcast action all over the world. And the weekly Sunday contest features Belmont top prize, $500 cash each and every week. It's free admission, free parking every day. That's at Northfield Park. Hoynesy and I return in a moment. More Sports and Les-Levine, exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
There was moisture in the basement. It ruined the carpeting. The smell was terrible. We didn't feel safe in our own basement, and that's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of October and save up to half off. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
The D-Man Dennis Maniloff will be here tomorrow night, of course now at WTAM Radio. And you see us live. We do this from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can follow us on Facebook and of course, on cleveland.com and archive us. You can also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new items posted. You can also use the voicemail of Truth and Reason, 216-200-6650. Call anytime, leave a message. We will use them on a future show. Let's quickly get in a couple of How Come Quickies before we turn the festivities over to Hoynesy. Mr. Gullible says, how come I wonder what if there were no hypothetical questions? Let me do that again. How come I wonder what if there were no hypothetical questions?
5.5?
Maybe. John Patrick, how come when I walked into a bar they canceled happy hour? Well, smile. You got to be happy.
That's
going
right.
to something like that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have, speaking of awards and Cy Youngs and all that stuff, now to bring you the award-winning Paul Hoynes rant, I give you the one and only Paul Hoynes. Pay attention. There will be questions.
Les, we're almost at my favorite holiday of the year, Halloween. Halloween because it means, in most cases, the baseball season is over. But Les, this is a vicious cycle for me. It's a two-edged sword. I mean, my job at my house is to buy the candy for all the little trick-or-treaters and the witches and goblins that come to our door. And Les, I always buy it too soon. I always eat half of it, and I always have to make a second run to go get more. So Les, I found this great deal at our drugstore near our house. Buy one bag of candy, get one free. Les, I could have spent $200 in this place. I mean, I had to call 911 to get out of just having them drag me out of this place. But still, Les, it still possesses me. Eating one bag of Milky Way, snack-sized Milky Ways a day is not a good way to live your life. It's just not. And so, you know what I did? I had to take all the candy and hide it. I put it down the basement. Now, obviously I know where I hid it, but the fact is I've got to go down two flights of stairs to get it and come back up 2 flights of stairs. When I go down one flight of stairs, I've already forgotten what I'm looking for. So, it's worked out. It's worked out, but it's a vicious cycle for me. I've really got to work at it. And I'm thinking, Les, that maybe the Browns are stuck in this kind of vicious cycle. Maybe the Browns and their fans are kind of stuck in this vicious cycle. It doesn't matter. The fans, they have so many fans here that are so great that it doesn't matter what they did the year before. They're always going to the Super Bowl the next year. Like last year, they're 7-8-1, right? They're 7-8-1. Baker-Mayfield is going to be the next Tom Brady. Freddie Kitchens is a play calling genius. I mean, Halloween is right here, and there's Snickers for everybody. And then reality sets in. The Browns go 2-5. Baker Mayfield is running for his life behind a leaky offensive line. Odell Beckham seems more concerned with wearing expensive watches during games than catching passes. Nick Chubb, who never fumbles, keeps fumbling. And the only thing Myles Garrett is nice enough to pose with a fan to get his picture taken. Then the fan takes a selfie and punches him in the face and drives away. The only thing the Browns do right is commit penalties. So what are we supposed to do about this? Then with Freddie Kitchens is game day management. I think the best thing they could do right now is put him in my basement next to the Halloween candy. They'd both be better off.
What my problem is? It's similar to yours. The popcorn, they have the bag is blown up, but there's only like a quarter of the thing full, right? So I can get away with eating a lot of popcorn, and then and you move the popcorn around a little bit so your wife doesn't think that you're eating a lot of popcorn. Then all of a sudden you get to that one handful, and that's the one the whole thing caves in, and whatever you thought you were getting away with, you're not getting away with it anymore.
My wife is yelling at me. She finds empty bags, candy wrappers all over the house.
What on your street? What's the number one candy?
Whatever
you give them.
Whatever I give them, but Nestle's Crunch. That's what we give out. That's what I give
big.
out. Yeah,
that's not like a little.
Those
Hershey
are the little ones, but we don't give out the big ones.
Yeah, you save them for yourselves.
Yeah.
Smart move on your part. And then you go dressed as a little kid and
no.
Did they give you? I mean, your favorite is chocolate cake. How do you handle that on Halloween?
No chocolate cake on Halloween. I just can't stop eating it. My dentist does not love me.
There's an art. Yes, he does. He gets the billion for it.
Right.
There's an art to moving the popcorn or candy around to make it look like you haven't touched any. And then there's one piece of candy, a Hershey Kiss, that just the whole
House
thing
of Cards.
Thanks to Paul Hoynes, who will be here, we hope, on time next Thursday night. Enjoy the game. I'm going to.
Yes, Game 7.
Should
Let's
be fun.
Go.
Nothing like a Game 7.
Rajah Davis.
Let's
have another moment like that.
They didn't win that game, did they?
No, they didn't win, unfortunately.
They haven't won in a while, right?
They haven't won in a while.
I've told the story a million times. As a young kid, to give my age away, I went to Game 4 of the World Series, 1954.
Really?
Yeah. And they get swept by the Giants, and I'm walking out with my father, and I say, "Why is everybody crying?" He says, "Well, they lost the World Series." I said, "Well, what are they worried about? We'll win next year." So that was 1955 was next year. They didn't win then either, did they?
No, I don't think so.
Are they ever going to win in mine or your lifetime? In your or my lifetime?
I don't know, Les.
How long you?
I don't know. If I keep eating a bag of candy a day, it's not going to work.
Well, I have a friend who went to the doctor, and the doctor says, "You have 6 months to live." He says, "Well, I can't afford to pay you." He says, "All right, I'll give you another 6 months." That'll do it for us. Thanks to Paul Hoynes. He is terrific. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.